entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Motion's been made by Colvin, properly seconded by Teal. Any discussion? All in favor of said motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And it's unanimous. Okay. Thank you. All right, we do not have any public comment at this time, so we can go on down to our moment of silence. So this time, let's stand for a moment of silence and we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance. It's going to be led by McBee High School student Anna McDaniel. And we'd also like to remember the family at Long Middle School who lost their child this week. So as we pray, let's remember them. Okay, at this time we'll have our pledge. Miss Anna, if you'll lead us in that pledge, we'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we certainly welcome this great crowd out to our board meeting tonight. Thank you for your interest in Chesterfield County School District. Certainly welcome our SRO tonight, Mr. Derek McQueen. Thank you for being with us as well. Certainly looking forward to recognizing some students a little bit later on in the meeting. So again, we do welcome you to your board meeting here tonight. All right, at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the March 28th, April 4th, and the April 25th minutes that have been provided to the board members.
So move. Second.
Motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of the said motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And it is unanimous. All right, we always look forward to this time of the year when we're able to have some special recognition. So at this time, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Hoffman and also Dr. Goodwin for the Superintendent's Art Award.
Right. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Goodwin. Tonight, we are here to recognize our Superintendent Art Award winners. Each year, our art teachers submit pieces of artwork from their students to the district, and we have a panel of judges that judge the pieces, and we have winners in 4 different areas. We have a primary winner, an elementary winner, middle school, and high school winner. Now, what happens is whenever we determine the winner, we take those pieces and we get them framed, and we keep them for a year. So we put them up at the district office to show off our art students. But when that year is done, they'll be able to come and get their artwork and keep it. And we have them on display over here if you would like to see them. Our first winner is our primary winner, who is Presley Broach, a first grader from Plainview.
Which one did you draw? The tree? Beautiful. Good job. All right, you come up here now.
Our elementary winner is Hannah Allison, a 5th grade student from Sherrall Intermediate School. Our middle school winner is Christian Melton, an 8th grade student from Long Middle School.
Everyone on that wheel? Congratulations, that's great.
And our high school winner is Reagan Wilkerson, a 12th grade student from Chesterfield High School.
Got it. Thank you. All right, let's give them another hand. What great artwork you ladies have done. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. All right, at this time we'll have our world language honors, so we'll turn it over to Ms. Wendy Folsom, Executive Director of Curriculum.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Cammie Locklear and Ms. Anna Middleton. They are foreign language teachers at Macby High School and Chesterfield High School, and they are going to present these awards tonight.
We would like to recognize and congratulate 6 Chesterfield and Macby High School students who have earned the South Carolina Seal of Biliteracy in Spanish. The South Carolina Seal of Biliteracy is an award for language learners in the Palmetto State who have proven they have a functional level of proficiency in 2 languages. The South Carolina Seal of Biliteracy advances the state's commitment to preparing every learner for college and career readiness in an increasingly international community by recognizing learners who obtain levels of proficiency required in the global workforce. The following students have proven they possess the ability to read, write, speak, and comprehend both spoken and written communication in Spanish and English. When I call your name, please come to the front and receive your certificate, and please remain standing until all the names are called. Okay. So the chords are new for us this year. This is the first year we've had a completer in Spanish, and the red chord is for Spanish completers, and the biliteracy chords would be the gold and red tassel. So they will wear these at graduation.
Nice.
Okay. Leah Gardner, Chesterfield High School, bronze. Anna McDaniel, Macby High School, bronze.
They won't stand right up front here.
Taylor Jackson, Macby High, bronze.
Congratulations.
Daniel Valdez, Macby High School, silver.
Congratulations.
Brandy Cuellar, Macby High, silver. And Marion Ramirez, Macby High, silver.
Brandon, congratulations. Okay. So this is actually the first year?
This is the first year that we've had a completer, but this is not the first year we've had biliteracy.
Okay. All right. Let's give them a hand again. Congratulations on behalf of the board for your effort. Did you get a picture? Okay. Thank you. Congratulations. All right. At this time, we'll turn it over to Mr. Batson, who's going to go over our athletic players of the year. Not sure if they're all here. Probably got games tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to have the athletic directors or school representative from each school to come and do the awards from that school, and then we will announce the district winners after that. First up will be Coach Johnny Klein from Macby High School.
Okay.
Is it on? Okay. Good. I'm excited to be here tonight to share our 2 athletes, our Macby High School nominations for Student Athlete of the Year. We had 2 great ones. The best thing about 2 we had tonight I'm going to share with you are they're underclassmen, so that means they'll come back for at least 1 more year. So it's been fun to watch them grow to where they are now. I can't wait to see how much farther they do go. First up is our young lady on the front row here, Miss Diana Williams. She is a 10th grader here at McBee High School. She is here with her mother, Dana Johnson, her sister, Soraya Johnson, and her other sister, Tamira Williams. Volleyball, basketball, track, and a cheerleader. All sports she played at McBee High School. She is a starter, a key contributor to each sport. A little bit about Diana, 4.5 GPA, Northeastern Tech student, Senior Beta Club, Leo Club, FCA member, all-region basketball player in 2022, region high jump champion 2019, 2021, and 2022, region triple jump champion 2022, region javelin champion 2022. Says a lot about her on the field. As a student, as a person, it doesn't get much better. She kind of paints a picture of what we want a student athlete to look like at McBee High School. Got a quote from her basketball coach, Miss Yolanda McDonald. Coach said, to know Diana as a coach, if there's a critical moment during a game, you want Diana on the floor. Diana's confident in her personality, her hard work, and she's an all-around team player. McBee High School's Female Athlete of the Year nominee is Miss Diana Williams.
She's also the most valuable track athlete as our region meeting Thursday in Lower Ridge over 38 out of the possible 40 points.
All right, next up is our Male Athlete of the Year. This young man is a member of the football, the basketball, and the track team. He's a starter, key contributor to each. Mr. Evan Sullivan, he's an 11th grader. He's here tonight with his parents, Pam and Jerry Sullivan. Another fantastic kid. When you look at a student athlete and what I want our athletes to look like at McBee High School, Evan's one I look to. A lot of young ones look up to him. I tell them, hey, you want someone to follow that guy. He does a lot of things the right way. Most impressive thing about Evan, same thing I tell the college coaches that ask me about him, his GPA is higher than his 40 time. Got a 4.87 GPA. So that's a lot to be proud of. Northeastern Tech student, already accumulated 32 hours of college credit through Tech as a junior in high school. So that shows his work ethic in the classroom along with what he does on the football field. Senior Beta Club member, National Tech Honor Society, all-region football player in 2021, all-region basketball player in 21, and a member of FFA. All-around fantastic student athlete. I got a quote for Evan from his position coach, Coach Clay Anderson, his running back coach for football. He said, Evan is the epitome of a student athlete. As a student, he carries a 4.8 GPA in honors classes, and as an athlete, as a starting running back in football, starting point guard in basketball, and ran track. Evan's success in the classroom and on the field is a product of his hard work and his discipline. Our 2022 Male Athlete of the Year nominee, Mr. Evan Sullivan.
Next will be Chesterfield High School, and Mr. Neil Adams, principal, will be presenting.
All right, first of all, for our female athlete at Chesterfield High School, is someone who's well deserving of this award. It's Miss Maya Johnson. She's a senior. She's here with her mother, Andrea, her father, Jeremiah, and her sister, Catherine. Maya has played 4 years of volleyball, 2 years of softball, and Maya has signed to play volleyball at Spartanburg Methodist College next year. Maya has been a member of the Business Professionals of America since her 10th grade year, and she actually placed first in South Carolina at the South Carolina Business Professionals of America for Financial Analyst Team Competition, and she also served as the BPA Vice President for the 21-22 school year. So she's not just a good athlete, she's a great student as well. Her business teacher, Ms. Coker, said Maya is an excellent student and has finished with a 95+ average in all 3 classes that I taught her. She's a career in technology accounting completer. And her volleyball coach, Ms. Molly Truesdale, said Maya has put great effort into herself as a student athlete and has done everything she can to maximize her potential and to work towards her goals. I'd like to introduce to you Chesterfield High Female Athlete of the Year, Ms. Maya Johnson. And for our male athlete of the year at Chesterfield High School is Mr. Kevin Diggs. Kevin couldn't be here today because we're playing in the district championship in baseball, so it's more important for him to be there. We really need him. So, he was a football and baseball player. You know, you ever watched him, you know how good he is. He was named All-Region Football, All-State Football. He was selected to play in the North-South All-Star game this year. He led the state in scoring average with 3.7 touchdowns a game. And he signed to play baseball at Florence Darlington Tech. He's a member of Crossroad Baptist Church. And Coach Nick Dixon said, I have known Bud, that's what everybody calls him. I've known Bud his entire life and watched him grow into a man of principle and values that have been instilled in him by family and his mother, Sandy. Coach Jonathan Easton said, Kevin is the type of student athlete you want representing your school, and he was a great representative of Chesterfield High School on and off the field. And we're all proud of Kevin. I know his dad would have been proud of him as well. And he's a great kid, and wish he could have been here to get this. But like I said, he's doing more important things right now for us. So. But our male athlete of the year at Chesterfield High School is Kevin Diggs.
Just as an update, the Rams are winning, so.
Next will be Sherrall High School, and Miss Tammy Burden is here to do the honors.
Hi, I'm going to start with our female athlete of the year at Sherrall High School. That is Miss Jasmine Dixon. She is not in attendance. She is at the playoff game that we have tonight. And so, of course, her parents are there along with her, as well as David Bird, that's where he is, and Pillion, supporting his daughter. Jasmine is a senior at Sherrall High School. She's played varsity softball, JV, and varsity volleyball and golf. Other activities that she's involved in include SGA Student Body President, Senior Beta President. She recently graduated from USCL Lancaster with Associate in Science degree. She's the class of 2022 top 10, and she is a 2021 Palmetto Girls State delegate. When asked about Jasmine with her softball coach, he says that she is the most wonderful young lady who she has excelled in the classroom and on the ball field, and as well as life. Even though things have been come at her, she has shown herself to be a great leader, and she has never let him down. So congratulations, Jasmine Dixon. And I think I've seen her and in attendance, so thank you for sharing Jasmine with us, Ms. Marilyn. Next, we have our male athlete, and that is Devin Gillespie. Devin Gillespie is a senior at Sherrall High School. He is here in attendance with his father, Dwayne, and his mom, Ava Brown Gillespie. Devin has participated in JV and varsity football and varsity basketball. Devin's accolades include SJ Senior Class President, Senior Beta Vice President. He has recently graduated from USC Lancaster with Associates in Science, Class of 2022 Top 10, South Carolina Football Hall of Fame Bridge Builder Excellence Award nominee. We are so excited and proud of Devin. When asked of Devin, Coach Eads, his varsity basketball coach, quoted, "The most coachable I've ever encountered. His work in the classroom speaks as loud as his work on the court." Congratulations, Devin.
Thank Marilyn. Yeah, be good.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we will have Coach Mitch Leard from Central High School.
Good evening.
Evening.
It's an honor for me to be here tonight to present our Athletes of the Year, and I'd like to present our Female Athlete of the Year from Central High School first. Coach Klein, unfortunately, you got yours coming back for another year or so. We don't have ours coming back, but we give anything if this young lady had some more eligibility. Kylie Huff is our Female Athlete of the Year. She is accompanied tonight. Her mom, DeAndre's here. I don't know if her dad is here, but I know Aunt Sandra's here. Kylie, softball, volleyball, and basketball for us at Central High School. Members of FFA, DECA. She's our Beta Club president. Helping Hands Outreach volunteer. Member of Mount Calgary Baptist Church Youth Ministry. Also Central High School Wall of Fame. Has a 4.2 GPA. And if I'm not mistaken, is still going to sign with USC Sumter. We just have to get all that lined up. So congratulations on that. Very proud of Kylie. I asked a teacher and coach to give me a quote. And he almost wrote a book, but he said, that's all I can do. He said, I could write about Miss Kylie Huff. So English teacher Mark Black, who's also one of our softball coaches, had these words. For people associated with Kylie Huff on most levels, she is known as homecoming and prom queen, a kind and gentle soul, and a person of matchless grace and dignity. Therefore, she is definitely an awesome individual, period. However, make no mistake, on the athletic courts and fields, she is one of the fiercest and most formidable opponents that a rival team can encounter. This fact became evident this past Saturday in her last at bat at Abbeville High School in a playoff game when she hit a towering home run over the center field fence. Who does that when your team is losing and all hope appears to be lost in the final innings of the game? Kylie Huff does that. As for the future, other players can be substituted in her position, but Kylie Huff can never be replaced as a great person who made an indelible mark at Central High School. She will be sorely missed. Our female athlete, Central High School, Miss Kylie Huff. Okay, our male athlete of the year at Central High School, I was wondering if he's going to get here or not, and he's like the fastest male athlete we have in the school, so I don't know why he was a little bit late showing up. I'm glad he's here. And the mom's here, Miss Terry and Sister Martasia. But Aiden Chambers is our athlete of the year, and he, just like Kylie, he's a senior, so we certainly hate to lose Aiden. But he was a standout force in football. But right now, track and field, he's got a lot of great things going on. And all of those great things should be on display Saturday at Woodland High School in the lower state track meet. Aiden is a member of the Central High School Wall of Fame. He carries a 3.6 GPA. This past season in track has been unbelievable for him. He is the region champ in the 200 meter, 400 meter, the 4x100 relay team, and the 4x4 relay team. As of right now, he is ranked #1 in the state in the 400 meters. So hopefully he's going to show out for us on Saturday morning at Woodland High School. But Aiden, we're very, very proud of you. I asked Miss Jennifer Dillon, an English teacher at Central, to give me a quote on Aiden. Aiden Chambers is very deserving of this honor. Not only is his athletic ability impressive, but his character is stellar. Aiden sets a prime example of a student athlete and a person who understands the value of commitment and teamwork while remaining humble. From a young age, he set himself apart as a natural leader, and that has continued during his 4 years at Central High School. on the field, in the classroom, and of course on the track, Aiden is a star. On behalf of Central High School's faculty and staff, we all congratulate Aiden Chambers on this and many other accomplishments. At this time, Aiden, if you'll come forward, please.
It's an honor for me to be able to announce the District Players of the Year for Chesterfield County Schools. The female athlete of the year, who is off tonight playing in the playoffs, is Miss Jasmine Dixon from Sherrall High School. Her aunt is here.
You want to receive it for Miss Marilyn?
Absolutely.
Marilyn on the mic.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Lauren, I would say congratulations.
And our male athlete of the year is also playing tonight in the playoffs, and that is Mr. Kevin Diggs from Chesterfield High School. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of the board, we certainly want to congratulate all the people that were recognized tonight. What I love about hearing about these athletes is you don't just hear they're good on the field, you don't just hear they're good on the track, but you're hearing that they're good in the classroom, you're hearing they're good academically, which goes right along with the mission of our school district. So we certainly congratulate them. Can we give them another round of applause? And we're going to go ahead and invite to the podium, if you would, Dr. Anderson, if you'll come and do our personnel reports. And then after the personnel reports, we have a few more recommendations or a few more recognitions that we want to make. And then we'll take a little break in case you need to leave. So we'll let you go ahead and do that, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Superintendent, at this time, I'd like to recommend the following exhibits for your approval, exhibits A through G.
Entertain a motion. Thank you. Second. I hear a second.
Second.
All right, the motion has been made and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor of the said motion, let me know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. And it is unanimous.
Mr. Chair, members of the Board of Trustees, and the audience, also tonight we want to announce a series of personnel moves that we're going to make with administrators in the district, and would like to invite each of them to come up and be recognized. And we're excited about their new endeavors, and I'm sure that they're excited to get started on the transitions. So first, Ms. Caroline Miles, if she would come forward. Ms. Miles will be serving as the principal of Edwards Elementary, beginning with the 22-23 school year. Ms. Miles began her teaching career at Edwards Elementary School and transferred to Ruby Elementary 12 years ago. She has served as the principal of Ruby Elementary for the past 6 years. So congratulations on your return to Edwards. Next, we'd like to welcome up Ms. Lauren Watson. She's going to be serving as the principal of Ruby Elementary in the 22-23 school year. Ms. Watson began her teaching career at Pageland Elementary, later served as the assistant principal at Sherrall Primary School before being named principal of Plainview Elementary 3 years ago. And she pointed out to me she's trying to do a tour of the complete county is what she's working to do. So I'd like to congratulate her on her transfer to Ruby Elementary. Next, Mr. Dennis McDaniel. Mr. McDaniel will be serving in the 22-23 school year as the principal of Plainview Elementary. Mr. McDaniel first served as a principal at Plainview Elementary School before transferring to McBee High School. Past 3 years, he has been the director of Palmetto Learning Center, so he will be returning to Plainview. As I told him, it felt like Back to the Future when we met. So, but congratulations on his return, and I know he's looking forward to that. Next, Ms. Beth Suggs will join the district's Curriculum Instruction Department. She'll be the director of upper elementary and middle level education. Ms. Suggs began her career at Edwards Elementary, later became principal of Ruby Elementary School, and then the past 6 years, she has been the principal of Edwards Elementary School. So a little bit of back and forth, but a little further down Highway 9 to the district office. So congratulations, Ms. Suggs. Dr. Chan Anderson has been with our district for 9 years, the past 6 years serving as assistant principal. Assistant superintendent. Hey, at least I didn't write it that way. For the past 6 years, with his primary responsibility being in human resources. In addition to his current responsibilities, Dr. Anderson will now serve in the leadership and supervisory role in the district's curriculum department. So he will have a dual responsibility for the upcoming 22-23 school year, and we congratulate him on that new position.
Certainly want to congratulate each one of them. We always love to be able to promote from within, give all of our other teachers and leaders an understanding how we like to do that. As this is a mission of this board, is to be able to do that when we can. And so certain of these positions that you saw transitioning tonight is because of their excellent work that they've done over the last couple of years in the position that they're currently holding. So again, on behalf of the board, we congratulate each one of you. At this time, we're going to take about a 2-minute break. So if you're needing to go, we certainly understand. We'll take about a 2-minute break. At this time, we'll turn it over to our Director of Exceptional Ed, Ms. Hudley. She's going to do our Director Take 5 for tonight.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Goodwin.
Good afternoon.
I would like to start with providing you some information about our exceptional needs program. Our child count is where districts are required to report the number of children with disabilities receiving special educational services according to an individualized education program, which is an IEP, or service plan, an ISP, which is provided for parentally placed private school students. Data used to report child count is collected yearly on the fourth Tuesday of October. Our official child count for October the 26th, 2021 is 734. We serve a total of 244 females and 490 males. And that's representative of our student body for the entire district. Overall, we serve, or our total population, we have more male students than female students. Our numbers based on ethnicity include 296 blacks, 342 white, 43 Hispanic, 2 American Indian, and 50 of our students identify as having 2 or more races. The disabilities we serve, the breakdown is with autism, 44, deaf or hard of hearing, 6, developmentally delayed, 33, emotional delay, 3, intellectually disabled mild, 50, intellectually disabled moderate, 19, intellectually disabled severe, 2, multiple disabilities is 3, orthopedic impairment, 1, other health impaired, 32, specific learning disability is 437, speech impairment is 103, and visually impaired is 1. The specific learning disability is the largest classification, not only in our district and our state, but also nationwide. Specific learning disability covers delays in oral expression, listening comprehension, written expression, basic reading skills, reading fluency, reading comprehension, mathematical calculation, and mathematic problem solving. IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Act, is a law that ensures that all children ages 3 to 21 with disabilities are entitled to a free and appropriate public education. Eligibility is based on 2 prongs. Prong 1, student must meet eligibility criteria under one of the 13 areas of classification. And prong 2, the disability must adversely affect the student's educational performance. The 13 areas of classification include autism, deaf blindness, deaf and hard of hearing, developmental delay, emotional disabilities, intellectual disabilities, multiple disabilities, other health impairment, orthopedic impairment, specific learning disabilities, speech language impairment, traumatic brain injury, and visual impairment. So how do we determine if special educational services are needed? Responsive intervention is a process used to help students who are struggling with a skill or lesson. The teacher will use interventions, a set of teaching procedures, with the student to help them succeed in the classroom. If a child does not respond to the initial interventions, more focused interventions are used to help the student. Through data collection, intervention, and assessment of progress and revised practice, the RTI team is able to make recommendations for continued interventions, accommodations, or services that will decrease academic challenges and improve student success. If there is little to no improvement by the student, the RTI team can make a referral to initiate the process for testing to determine if the student has a disability. We also receive parent referrals. If a parent suspects his or her child has a disability, a written request can be made to the school. The request will be submitted to the RTI team, and the process of interventions will be determined as needed. After a period of interventions and data collections, the team will determine the need to proceed with the special education evaluation process. After the referral for special education evaluation to the School Intervention Review Team, or CIRT, the team will meet to review the data collected during the RTI process. The CIRT team can recommend additional, more intensive, individualized instructions, or to evaluate the student to determine if he or she has a disability. If the parent grants the team permission to evaluate, the team has 60 days to complete the evaluation and conduct an eligibility determination meeting. If the student is found to have a disability, an individualized program, or IEP, is developed. The IEP will outline the what, where, when, and how, and why services will be provided. If the parent is in agreement with the implementation of the IEP, signed permission is needed to implement services. Once parent grants or sign consent to provide special education services, services will begin. Are there any questions?
Any board member have a question, Mr. Chapman?
Yes, ma'am. A very good report. I was looking at other health impairments. There's 32. What does other health impairments include?
It's, we have to have medical documentation as to any other medical criteria, such as ADHD or any health issues with proven or documented medical proof to go along with it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Wayne?
How does the student shadow position play in with this? Because I think some of these students would have a shadow, but I think I know of some other students that have shadows that wouldn't necessarily be included in this report.
Student shadows is based on the need for the student. The IEP team, once the student is shown to have a disability and requires services, the IEP team will provide all the accommodations and modification that the child may need. If those accommodations or modifications are not successful and it is determined that the assistance of a student shadow is needed, the team will look at looking at the criteria to put in a shadow in place for the student.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, thank you so much for your report tonight. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Mr. Deuce is attending by Zoom tonight, and he wanted me to let y'all know that Sherrall is also winning their game, so I want to make sure that as well.
But that's definitely more important right
So at this
now.
time, we're going to turn it over to our coordinator of assessment, Ms. Huff.
Good evening. I'll share a little bit about our assessments. I have organized them by their grade bands to let you see what all is available that is happening during our year, and also in smaller letters you'll see if it happens in the fall, the winter, or the spring. So in our first, we have our primary and elementary assessments, our PALS, which is our phonological awareness literacy screener. Goes along with our reading for our little 4Ks when they come in. And my IGBs, which is a numeracy, part of the math part that we want to bring in with them. We have our teachers to work with them in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring to see how they improve. Our kindergarten readiness assessment, our KRA, of course, involves the reading, math, physical, and socio-emotional of the kids. They come in and they only have that as a pretest. We do not have anything later in the year that the State Department mandates for us to have for the 5K. For our 5K to some of our second graders, we have our MAP fluency, which connects with our reading, and we do that 3 times a year. Also with our 5K to 5th grade, we have our MAP growth, reading, and math. This is not something that's been new, that's been around for a while, and we've been using it. The program has really improved over the years, connected with our standards, and really gives a good information to our teachers about how they can improve the individual child. Also works with small groups, also work with whole group to see what may be a strength or a weakness in that area. Those are most of our formative assessments that we have. Also, with our primary and elementary school, we have some of our summative assessments. With our GT screener, we have our COGAT in Iowa. It's given to all second graders in the whole state of South Carolina, not just in Chesterfield. But we have that for them. It happens in the fall, usually about October. When we get information from that, we also can have them to qualify to go to a SE performance task if they meet in one of the criteria for COGAT in Iowa. It's also math that's included with that and SE Ready. But second grade through fifth grade, select children from there have the SE performance task in the winter, usually about February. Third through fifth grade, of course, our SE Ready in reading and math in our spring. And fourth grade with our SE Pass for science. And of course, that is going on now in the month of May. Middle schools, you'll see that there's some overlap here. 6th through 8th grade, we have our MAP growth, reading and math 3 times a year. Also, our SE Ready in the spring with reading and math, and our 6th graders have SE Pass with our science. In 8th grade, there is an optional PSAT that the children, normally the parents pay for this to have it in the 8th grade. It's about $10. But if the child cannot afford that and they really would like to take the PSAT, a lot of the schools take that cost on themselves, and we will as well as our district. We've done that in the past. So that is optional, but we do have that for the children. That's one of the ways they are identified as our junior scholars. Also in 8th grade, we have our Algebra 1 end of course. Moving to high school, 9th grade takes the MAP growth for reading and math as well, 3 times a year. Our 9th and 12th grade have our end of course exams in Biology 1, Algebra 1, English 2, and U.S. History. And of course, it's only to those kids that are in those courses at that time. 10th grade, we encourage all of our 10th graders to take the PSAT in the fall, usually October. 11th graders are 3rd year of high school. They get an opportunity to have ACT or SAT. It is not mandated now. It is an option for our kids, but usually it's a good cost that is saving for the parents, so we do encourage our 11th graders to do that. Also with our 11th grade, we have the ACT work keys. Some of our 12th graders, maybe if they're new or they weren't around when something happened in the 11th grade when they weren't able to take it, or able to take that in that grade as well. It usually happened in the spring around March time. And both of those with our ACT and work keys and ASVAB that's coming up for 9th through 12th grade connects with our college and career. 11th and 12th grade, of course, has our AP exams, which connects to literature, calculus, and U.S. history. Last but not least, our specialized assessments. K through 12th grade, we work with our multi-language learners. They are given the access or the alt access for children that have disabilities that are also multi-language learners. In 3rd through 12th grade, the children that are not able to take the regular SE Ready and SE Pass are given SE alternate assessments, and it connects with 3rd grade all the way up through 8th grade. And then they have also the alt EOCs that they take that connect with all 4 subject areas in the high school ages. NAEP is given in 4th, 8th, and 12th grade in selected times. It's not always those grades. They pick and choose what they want. They tell us about August which school in which grade. This year we had McBee High School. They had 8th graders with U.S. history. Are there any questions about the,
Any questions for Ms. Huff?
I have some, but I'm going to set up an appointment with and talk to an individual. We got
please do, my door's open anytime. We can
we got a
discuss
lot of
all
testing
day.
going on here.
Yes, sir, we really do. It is a lot, I agree.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your report, we appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
This time we'll turn it over to our ELA Director, Ms. Stubbs. I think she's going to be joined by our Executive Director of Curriculum, Ms. Folsom, for our reading recovery.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are going to talk to you about reading recovery. We're very excited about reading recovery. We have had reading recovery in the district for 5 years. We started in 2018 with our first cohort with Mr. Mike Moss, a professor from Clemson that came and taught our first class. And so from there it has expanded. So a little bit about reading recovery. Reading recovery is a short-term, one-to-one early intervention program for first graders. It is a program in which the teacher, the trained teacher, meets with the student for 30 minutes a day for a period of 12 to 20 weeks. So it's a very intense intervention. The goal is to accelerate students through individually designed lessons that follow a specific format and to close the achievement gap with those students. Clemson University is the training site for reading recovery in South Carolina and works very closely with the South Carolina Department of Education to continue this effective statewide implementation of the program. So we have been very lucky to have the opportunity to work with Clemson closely with this. After completing these lessons, students can begin to read more difficult texts. They become problem solvers with reading and writing. They are able to compose more complex messages in their writing, and they continue to grow in their classroom. And so we have the data to support this, that this program does work. It is also beneficial as a way for teachers to proceed to have intense professional development. So whether you are a reading recovery teacher or you go in as a early literacy teacher, you will receive the same training. The difference is reading recovery works with 4 students and the early literacy teacher works with 2 students. But the training is the same. The training is kind of a apprentice model, I think, because as a teacher, you have someone that comes in and guides you and supports you along with the professional development that you receive weekly. It is very beneficial because it provides a common language and a common framework for our students. When they are in the intervention and go back into the classroom, they are hearing the same language with those teachers that have had this professional development. In the last 5 years, we have trained classroom teachers, interventionists, all of our reading coaches, special ed teachers in reading recovery. In addition, along with reading recovery, our elementary schools are using a RISE intervention model, and I think that's in the curriculum report this time, and it is also based on that reading recovery framework. Reading recovery teachers, in addition to working one-on-one with students, they also work with small groups of students. So it's expanded throughout the school. The benefits for the school, the benefits for classroom teachers is huge because teachers really begin to develop an understanding of how children learn to read and write. They become experts in their schools and in the district. They expand and refine their practice as a teacher and then use this with all of their students. And I will say on a personal note, after 30 plus years as a classroom teacher, I was part of the first cohort of reading recovery teachers, or as an early literacy teacher, and this was the best professional development I have ever been through as an educator. So it does work, and it really is a benefit to our district. I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Folsom.
I'm going to discuss with you what future plans, oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Want to share with you exactly how many teachers we have trained and what our plan is for the future with reading recovery. We are able to have right now 15 reading recovery trained teachers. They are serving at 7 of our schools that have first grade, all of the elementary schools that have first grade. I'm sure it's hard for the audience to see these numbers, but if you'll look, I've got it broken down by school, how many we've been able to train at each of the schools through the 5 years. Currently, like I said, we have 15 certified reading recovery teachers in place for the 22-23 school year. We will have an additional reading recovery teacher at Petersburg Primary. We also are going to have a second teacher leader. Katie Herring is currently, she trained in our first cohort and has become our teacher leader and went through training at Clemson. We now will have Anna Hancock as well. So our district will have 2 teacher leaders. Anna will be housed at Petersburg, where we are going to have a training room. These are the pictures of the training room that is under construction right now. This will be where Anna Hancock is housed. Of course, Petersburg is one of our neediest areas as far as for our students, and I'm pleased to tell you that we have a large number of our regular ed teachers trained there, and it is proving to be very beneficial, especially at Petersburg. We've seen tremendous growth there, as well as other schools too. But I'm very pleased to report that Petersburg is showing growth. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Folsom? All right, hearing none, thank y'all so much for the report.
Thank you.
Thank you to each of the directors. Take 5 tonight. We appreciate the information that you've shared with us this evening. This time, we'll turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Willard, for our financial reports, reviews, and budget first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening.
Good evening.
Prior to the meeting, you have been given both the March and April monthly reviews since the schedule was as such in early April. I'll be happy to notate any comments or take any questions on those.
Any questions on the reviews from March and April? All right, hearing none, you can proceed.
Okay. We bring before you this evening for consideration and approval one budget adjustment for the technology department, moving budget from another line item that has available budget to cover services needed in the IT department between now and the end of the year. And we do recommend that you approve that.
Okay. Being that it's a budget adjustment, we'll need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor of the said motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And it is unanimous.
Okay, moving on to the FY 22-23 budget presentation for this evening. We were able to get some financial information from the state late last week, so we made some adjustments this morning to the presentation, and that was uploaded into your portals. So what you have in front of you should be the one-page summary, but I will also have a PowerPoint that will have this broken down into sections if you would prefer to follow along that way instead. A few comments about the budget presentation. Just want to remind you that the end of the legislative session is this Thursday, May 12th. I will say, and I think Dr. Goodwin would agree, that this is the most complicated and uncertain budget cycle that we have been involved in since we have been here in Chesterfield County. We are not expecting a final budget until after the June 14th primaries. So what we are showing you is the best information that we have, but just be patient with us. We're not sure how June's going to look. We're not sure exactly when that's going to take place. We will focus on the June 13th meeting after tonight, but we have on on pretty good word that we will not have a full budget until at least June 14th. Want to also let you know that there is a continuing resolution in the House that has been passed. So we do feel like the possibility of a continuing resolution could be a real thing to consider later in June. But we'll just have to wait and see what both sides do from the House and the Senate. And I'll remind you that those versions are very, very different. So it's going to make it very difficult for those two sides, the House and the Senate, to reach a consensus on this budget. So expect a conference committee and for this thing to go back and forth for a little while. But with session not being in, we're not sure what news we'll get until after those primaries. So what we bring before you tonight is based on the Senate, the most up-to-date Senate version, which was passed a couple of weeks ago. Keep in mind, though, that due to massive changes in funding methodology, there are a lot of unanswered questions even in this version. Keep in mind that normal calculations related to EFA categories and ADM are gone. They no longer exist. So the way in which we budget revenues is going to be completely different, and all of those questions have not been answered yet. So while we cannot completely conceptualize how that's going to look, what we do want to bring before you this evening is a first reading proposal for a budget, reminding you of our focuses for academics, arts, and athletics. And I'll show you the primary components that are in the Senate version for Proviso 1.3. And those are going to be the same headings that are at the top of your summary, should be in red on the one-page summary PDF. So this proposal includes one step for teachers mandated by the state. The Senate version moves the starting teacher pay on the state minimum salary schedule to $38,000 versus the $40,000 that we told you about in the House. One step for all other positions. 2% cost of living adjustment for all other positions. This is the first stab at proposing a budget, but we feel like the 2% cost of living increase for all others is realistic. 1% employer retirement increase, again mandated by the state. That one should be funded. Keep in mind that this budget maintains the increased local supplement to 6%, up from 5%. And where that's reported mostly, where you see that reported mostly is on the teacher salary schedule, because that is a state-initiated schedule. But this will be maintained throughout all categories based on the implementation of the 1% that we did in the current year. This budget proposal does include an 8.5 mil increase, and we wanted to show you this because that is the maximum allowed under the current Act 388 cap, based on the statewide CPI growth of 4.7%. And then a reminder that this includes the 18% employer health insurance increase, which again would be a mandate as initiated by SCP. So if we move right into the presentation, the summary presentation of tonight's first reading proposal, again, as we do every year, we're taking the current year expenditures, working from that, giving you the areas that we are proposing increases for the 22-23 budget. So those increases fall into these following categories, and they end up totaling $5,195,000 in increases, or 8.25% increase, as you'll see a little bit later on. Schedule changes per the Proviso 1.3. That includes your teacher salary schedule increases, as well as other categories that are included in the proviso, to include areas such as nurses, OTs, PTs, psychs. It's not just certified teacher categories that are being included in the legislative proviso. So $1.6 million estimated increase just for that mandate. 22-23 step, as I mentioned, for mandated for teachers and all others, be a total of approximately $900,000. That 2% cost of living adjustment for non-certified, $520,000. Other fringe increases that are not included in mandates, as you'll see below, such as the health, the employer health and the retirement. The other fringe increases are $500,000, and then the mandated increase is $1.5 million. Based on information that we are getting on utilities and the anticipation of a pretty drastic increase on certain utilities and where we stand now, we are proposing in the areas of electricity, water, and trash, the necessary increase of $175,000, which is an 8% increase in those three categories. Not each, but total of those three categories. So I'll pause if there are any questions on that particular section.
You don't know what electricity is by itself, do you?
Excuse me?
You know what electricity is by itself in terms of percentage of that 8%?
I'm not sure what that would work out to be, but we're going to give, that pretty much gives each of those areas a 6 to 8% increase. We understand that a higher percentage has been requested by utility companies, but we're not sure what they're going to get. I think I've heard 10% from one of the larger utilities.
Any more questions on the expenditure increases? All right.
Quick section here. As you know, contracts are not due back in until tomorrow, May 10th. So they are not binding. So we do not have definitive information about any cost savings we may have related to staffing adjustments at this time. So we're not showing you any decreases in expenditures at this time. And that $5,195,000 increase takes us to a grand total of general fund expenditures of over $68 million. Drastic increase from where we've been. And I think in prior meetings, I had warned you that that increase may be a good bit higher than what we're used to. Move into the revenue increases. We'll move from the revenue that we have, of course, not including any transfer of fund balance in the current year. But you're going to see that line that just says state lump sum. That's all we can do right now. That's as simple as we can put it. We don't want to oversimplify it for you, but what we do want you to understand is we do not know at this point how the line items look. The 12 to 15 EFA line items that we currently have in the budget very well will go away. And we will have these lumped into general fund and EIA sections. So what is represented here with $2.5 million is simply what we think we would receive from the state on the legislative K-12 budget line items. The Tier 3 state reimbursement is a number that we get directly from State Revenue and Fiscal Affairs or State Budget Board. So we feel like a $500,000 increase in that revenue is solid. Giving you the information in dollars on the 8.5 mil or 4.7% increase, $700,000 would be recurring revenue to the district on the local level. And then the estimated addition for fringe, $500,000, again, that is money we feel like will come through the state offices, but that money is not part of the legislative process. They do not include things like PIBA, certain portions of retirement, and certain other fringe costs in their deliberations. But we do feel like that would come from the state, giving us a total estimated revenue increase of $4.2 million. So I'll pause on that section to see if there are any questions.
Any questions on the revenue increases? All right.
8.5 could or could not. It's going to happen.
Excuse me?
8.5 mil.
What's the question?
Is that going to happen?
That would be a decision.
That would be a decision of the board.
Going into second.
We wanted to disclose what that would mean to this first reading budget based on the maximum allowable under the law.
Any other questions? Okay.
And next section again is a zero. We do not have any areas where we would be reducing any of the current revenue line items at this point. So your total revenue comes in at just under $66 million. And if we look at the result of that in total, you see the 8.25% increase on general fund expenditures projected under the Senate model, and only a 6.8% increase that includes the state and local portion that we just showed you. That leaves a deficit projected at this point, $2,285,000. We would be utilizing fund balance in this proposal to bring that balance to zero in effort to present a balanced budget by the time we finish our process in June. And just for a little bit of disclosure, obviously we don't know at this point if this is truthful. However, what we do want to show you is based on the current year estimated transfer of fund balance of 1.2, almost $1.3 million. If both that and this proposal this evening were to take place, fund balance unassigned would move from just under 10 million to 6.4 million. So, any questions on that end result?
Any questions about the fund balance?
Okay. And for your reference, we do give you the information regarding that impact on 8.5 mils based on assessed values of approximate appraised values for your information. With that, Mr. Chair, I will open it up if there are any questions or any feedback or considerations for administration as we go through the process. We certainly welcome that as we go through this very complicated process and want to certainly research anything that you may have. With that, if there are any questions, Dr. Goodwin and I will notate those and respond, but I will also turn it over to Dr. Goodwin when that is complete to make a recommendation.
Dr. Goodwin?
Obviously, this is a very teacher-driven budget. The language that's here really drives a significant increase in expenditures for the district based on the teacher calculations for raises. The other thing that we look at is the amount of fringe that's being added on. Not only the PIBA health insurance is unprecedented, that amount of increase in 1 year, but then also the other fringe cost to include the additional 1% on retirement. So we're looking at numbers here that we're not used to looking at. Would say this, this has become a political football, and really what it's become is a political football that is playing with either a tax rebate on the Senate side or a tax cut on the House side. And basically, obviously a rebate is a one-time occurrence. A cut is a multiple year occurrence, and the two sides really are no closer today than they were in January when all this first idea of how to reform education funding came about. So we really don't know where we're going. We debated a long time about whether to bring you a first reading, but quite honestly, if we had waited until we get state numbers that are more, I guess you'd call realistic, we could be going into July just getting a budget passed because of the mere time that we'll get the information late in June. So we do know that teachers will see a raise, we'll see those fringe costs go up significantly. Obviously, the only other thing that we're proposing that would go up on is utilities. So, that really is really a bare bones budget. The jury is still out on this year's budget and this year's use of fund balance. Obviously, it's this time of year that we begin to start honing in on what the end of the current year budget looks like. We hope that by June we'll be able to start estimating what that looks like also. Finally, I would remind you that with staff turnover, there also is potential for savings with the number of retirees we have. In theory, you're going to hire younger teachers who cost less, and that one sheet on savings on expenditures, we should be able to plug a number into there after we begin to see what contracts look like. Happy to take any questions. Quite honestly, I don't mean to sound flippant when I say We probably don't know the answers at this point, but we can certainly take the questions.
Okay, first let's entertain a motion for first reading, and we do let everyone know this is a first reading where everything had to be dumped in so we could get this first reading done tonight. We expect to see a lot of changes coming into the second reading of the budget for sure. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion for first reading, then we'll have discussion.
So move. Second.
Motion has been made by Coleman, properly seconded by Chapman. Any discussion? All in favor of the said motion, let the vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Okay, so that is one nay. 6. Did Mr. Dusa, is he still online?
Yes.
I heard him respond.
Yes, I'm
very
here.
low.
Was he in the
I'm a
affirmative?
yay.
Whatever it is.
He's really
He's
excited
doing
about the
it,
budget.
It's a yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's one in the negative. Ms. Patsy, you got that recording? You got any questions? You got it? Okay, thank you.
Question.
Oh, one more question, Mr. Sweeney.
When do we anticipate the second budget reading? After the June meeting? Based on what he's saying, it'll be in sometime in June.
It's gonna be after the election.
After the election.
Yes, sir.
They're
Which
pretty
I think
firm
our
on
meeting is the night before the
13th.
election.
Yes,
So we're talking about a special meeting.
Probably, sir.
Okay.
most
Yes,
likely.
sir. Thank you, good question. All right, Mr. Wheeler, we appreciate it. Thank you for all your work on the budget. I know it's a very tedious job. I know you don't like to come before us no more than you have to, especially when you got bad
Thank you all.
news or try and get a budget passed. But we thank you for all your work on it. And at this time, we'll turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Gould. Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed down at the bottom. Curriculum, Ms. Folsom. We'll give you another shot at the podium. I apologize.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
I'd like to highlight a few items from your curriculum report that's in front of you. We talked about RISE model. That is an intervention model we're using in our elementary schools. This model utilizes 3 to 4 teachers working with small groups of students, and they move within a classroom from teacher to teacher, working on the same skills in reading and writing, in their fluency. We have seen a tremendous amount of growth in our students. It's usually about a 6-week program. It involves about 12 students at a time. Takes about an hour to do the intervention model, but it also follows their reading recovery model and framework, which is so important because the teachers that are teaching the RISE model have all gone through the reading recovery training. I also want to highlight our adult education. Call your attention that presently we have 44 total graduates for this school year. The other thing I wanted to highlight is assessment time. And we have SC Ready going on, as well as our end of course assessments in our high schools. That is under your section of assessment. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Folsom? Hearing none, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll turn over to our superintendent, Dr. Goodwin, for his superintendent's report.
Okay, the first thing we have on the list is for the authorization of federal programs representative for the district. Each year we have to bring you this. It has to be part of our minutes, and it would authorize Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and Title V, the representative being Dr. Candace Hoffman.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Sweeney, properly seconded by Birch. Any discussion? All in favor of the said motion, let the vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And it's unanimous.
Also in your folder tonight, we have the proposed meeting schedule for the 22-23 school year. If you'll review those dates, typically that would be the second Monday in the month. But of course, when we get down to April, that alters just a little bit due to spring break. And so we put that in there. If you have any questions or concerns, if you would let us know, either the chair or myself, and we'll work on adjusting that, and we'll bring it to you then for approval next month.
I got you.
I got a couple more.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a couple of more reminders as we wrap the year down. Memorial Day is a holiday, May 30th. Then we'll have 2 half-days for students on the 1st and the 2nd, with an in-service day being on the 3rd. We would have you also note those graduation times. If you're planning to attend graduation, if you'd please let us know. We'd like to reserve special seating for you at those particular schools. I know some of you are used to just notifying the school directly or through us, but just making sure we do that. Finally, a few upcoming events. The District Teacher of the Year Banquet, Sherrall High on Thursday, the 12th. Coming right back at Sherrall High, May 19th for the retirement banquet. And finally, adult education graduation is on Tuesday, June the 28th at Chesterfield Rubin Middle School. Yes, sir.
Good, thank you for that report. At this time, I want to give a few updates real quick. Sherrall High got an Outstanding Performance Award, which is the highest honor given by the Band Directors Association. So we certainly want to recognize Sherrall High School tonight as well. Also, we've got a Sherrall score of 1-1, top of the 5th inning. Also, the Chester Rams are 5-6, top of the 7th. So we'll know something about that in just a few moments. Also remind you, June the 13th, regular board meeting at the Primary Learning Center. Begin at 5 o'clock, executive session, 5:30, regular meeting. At this time, we entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Birch, properly seconded by Teal. All in favor of said motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. It is unanimous. Thank you again for your attendance.